What's up, my people? What's good? It's Suliaski here again. Um, on another episode on Break the Market with me. Let's analyze the market together. I'm very sorry. I've not been able to post, not been able to make videos for over 2 weeks since I started the channel. And I am sorry due to one or two reasons. I couldn't make videos. I've not been active, but I will try as much as possible to carry guys along during the weekends, breaking down the charts with you every Sunday. So, good. What do we have here? We have the DXY, the dollar index. So, what do we have here? We can see price is basically doing what? Resisting on this zone. Now, on the weekly time frame, we can see that I marked out a zone on the. Let's go to the daily time frame and see. On the DXY, what I'm basically looking for is I mark this zone as a supply zone. Supply zone, what am I looking for? I want to see price tap into this zone and reverse. Basically, I don't trade DXY, although I've heard of people trading DXY, but I've not come across trading DXY before. But I have people who trade it. So I don't trade DXY. Yes, use it for my direction. I know when the DXY is buying other currencies, has to be selling like the gold and GBP USD. Although I don't trade the currency pairs anymore, I focus on the metals and the indices, which are the GER40, SP500, NAS 100, US 30. And along with the metals, I trade the gold and the silver. I just integrated the silver into my pairs, but silver has been very volatile and it has a big spread when it comes to your brokerage, depending on the broker you're using. I basically trade prop firms most of the time. I'm a prop firm trader, lost a lot of accounts, but that doesn't mean you should give up on the game. We know that things will still get better. So join me as we analyze the market together. So sorry for the long intro. So what do we have here? I basically have marked my zone because I don't want this video to be lengthy. So what do we have here? Price did what? On Gemini 40, what do we see here? We can basically see that I marked this zone as my what? As my supply zone. And basically we had this supply zone which price respected. I basically used the green rectangle to represent supply zone, and I use the yellow to represent demand zone. You can see this beautiful M pattern, the double top pattern, which formed broken neck and drastically dropped. This is a weekly time frame. If you had caught this move, you should be in dollars. You should be swimming in dollars. So not a financial advice, just for educational purpose. Okay, now basically what have I seen? The previous 2 weeks ago, not this week, there this one, the previous one, you can see we can see price had already penetrated into my zone. It has mitigated a zone, so believing that okay, we should be dropping, but unfortunately the market had other plans for us. And if you can watch from a daily and weekly time frame, you can basically see this my trend line markings. You can see my trend line. We are in a very bullish zone scenario. We have been buying, creating all-time highs on the January 40. So what are we looking for? Let's zoom below. I am not a swing trader. I'm a intraday trader. Day trader, I hold trade during the day. Intraday trading, I can hold trade for 2 or 3 days before I close. But I don't hold the trade for 5 days. Either it hits stop loss or TP. So let's zoom out. What do we have here? We basically have another supply zone as price had mitigated the first supply zone. Now we zoom down to the 4-hour time frame. We can basically see we have another supply zone which has what been mitigated. So basically with my Fibonacci, I am basically looking for what I want to see price drop with the open drop into this zone, my zone, my demand zone, create some sort of move. I will zoom down to the 15 minutes time frame to get a good entry candlestick confirmation, or I know what I look for. I look for some good POI and stuff to just buy from. So this is a good POI one, into. So I'm looking forward to buy. I'm still bullish in the market. I'm not going to advise anyone to sell. And please, this is not a financial advice, just my own opinion on the market. So let's go on to the next pair. We have S&P 500. What am I also looking for? We are basically looking at the same scenario that has been happening, but unlike Gemini 40, whereby it is reacting to a supply zone. But we have S&P 500 has been breaking all-time highs, making all-time highs every week for the past how many weeks now since S&P broke this high. Look at it. This is the previous high, the highest price went to, that was January 2026 this year, before tanking down, and now we can see the big bullish momentum candle which happened on April 13. April, not the actual day April 13, but during April we have this bullish strong candle. From there we started seeing these weaker candles moving to the upside, creating all-time highs, all-time highs, all-time highs. So basically we've been closing with all-time highs for the past how many weeks? Just last week we couldn't close with an all-time high. So let's see. The previous week before last week we had a good all-time high creation, and last week we didn't get to break the all-time high for the previous week. So now what am I looking for? Let's zoom down to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we can see price is basically reacting from the supply zone, trying to say, oh, the sellers are weak and the buyers are weak. We are beginning to sell. So basically, I will not advise this is not a financial advice, this is just for educational purposes. I would not advise anybody buying, selling from that zone. At the moment, I am still bullish with this market. I am still bullish. There is still bullishness coming to the market. So you can basically see I am, let's zoom into the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame, what am I basically looking for? Let's go to the 2-hour time frame. So I want to see price react into this zone. It's my POI, point of interest. If I mark, let's mark with my Fibonacci to see if the first one is in alignment with what I'm looking for. Basically, yes, we are on the discount zone on the first POI. On the discount zone, we have premium and discount zone. Buying from this zone is a premium zone. Buying below this 50% range is you buying at a discount zone, basically buying something at the cheaper right there price. Sorry, forgive me, at a cheaper price. So basically, the first zone I'm looking forward to buy from is this first zone, which is basically below the 50% range of the move, and also below this 75% zone. This zone is best. I love this zone, but just the price might not get into the zone before what? Shooting to the upside. Let's go to the Nasdaq 100. Nasdaq 100 also correlates with the S&P 500. S&P 500. Let's go on to the weekly time frame. We can also say that the same thing happening here with Nasdaq 100. Nasdaq 100. Nasdaq 100 basically did what? Has been creating all-time highs, weekly all-time highs after it broke this resistance zone, and it started giving us all-time highs just as the S&P 500 has been giving us. But just last week we couldn't break the previous week's high, so basically we were trapped in the week high almost. I think Nasdaq was just a few pips away from giving us another all-time high as of last week. Well, I think due to this supply zone, price is basically reacting to this supply zone. Price is basically reacting to this supply zone. Am I looking for sales? No. I am still bullish on the market. I know that this market has to buy. I believe the price has to buy because we are still bullish in the market. Okay, what am I looking for? Why am I having green, yellow, and red rectangle on this my pair on the Nasdaq 100? What do I have? The green basically means my supply zone. The yellow, I use it as my demand zone. While this reddish one, I use it as my support and resistance. I use it in marking support and resistance, just as I did with the Nasdaq 100 on the weekly time frame. You can basically see, let's see how it goes. You can see I have this resistance zone, this support zone. This is how I mark my zones, and I use candlestick colors to differentiate my candle. So I know when I see this candlestick color, I know what I am looking for because I have integrated that mindset into myself. So I know what I am looking for. So let's see. Can I mark a trend? Let's mark a trend. One. I basically mark a lot of trends before I get the right one I want. Yeah, you can mark the trend as you want, but so far it works for you, so far it works for me, I'm good. This is not a financial advice. This is for educational purpose. So I'll basically be removing this trend line, unlike my chart having a lot of congestion on it. So what are we looking at here? Price has basically been buying. I want to see price disrespect this zone. This zone, I don't want it to hold anymore. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for price to tap into this zone. Let's see, is this up to my 50% range? Okay, let's mark it here. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is, oh no, we had this high. So basically, let's use this low. This is this because price broke out of this high. This high, this low generated this high. So this high also generated this low, and we had this bullish move from away from that zone. So what am I looking for? I'm looking forward to seeing price come into my zone, my point of interest. Look for some entry on the 15-minute time frame. Then, bam, I ride on with the trend. I don't trade against the trend. So now we are on US 30. US 30. Let's go on to the weekly time frame. Unlike the NAS 100 and S&P 500 that had been having all-time highs, creating all-time highs for the past weeks, US 30 was not creating all-time high. So just last week we had US 30 create all-time high. What is this going to be for? How is it going to be for the market due to during this war and chaotic session with the war and things like that? The market has been going crazy. Let's see. I've not refreshed my Forex factory. Basically, use Forex factory to track my news data. So let's see what news do we have from them. Okay, look at what we have here. Trump negotiations are proceeding in an orderly manner. Informed my representatives not to. I don't know. I don't want to open this. I'm not basically here for this. So, if they are ending the war, if there is a good news about the war, we can basically say that expect bullishness in the market. This is not a financial advice. On Monday, we have no news. On Tuesday, we have okay consumer confidence. Let's reverse back to our chart. So you can basically see that just as last week, we had a very bullish candle close and all-time high created on the Dow Jones US 30 last week. So now on the daily time frame, we can see price has broken this resistance zone to the upside. And now what is price doing? Price is trying to come back. Coming back, I am not looking for sales on the Dow Jones because market has broken all-time high. So basically, whatever goes up comes down. So it just wants to come back and wait people before another move starts. So why am I having these zones? I'm looking forward to seeing price. I'm looking forward to buying price at these zones, these yellow zones, which are my demand zone. I'm looking forward to buying from. Okay, is this first zone aligning with my Fibonacci zone level? Fibonacci level. Yes, this is below the 50% range on my Fibonacci, and so it's a good place to buy from. Good zone to buy from. Not a financial advice, just my own take on the market. So let's go on to gold. What do we have for gold? Gold did me yawa, 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 yawa. So now let's zoom out. Let's see. Let's go to the weekly time frame. Let's see what has been happening with gold. So basically, you guys see I have red trend line and blue. Red, I use it. I just don't want to complicate things, so I just basically use the red line and the blue line. The blue line, I just use it to identify that okay, I am more interested in the lower time frame as the daily time frame. You can see I have some lines. I use that as my psychological levels, just like support and resistance, but psychological levels, which are it's not random. Basically, it's not a random zone I've marked. It's a zone where I mark 500 pips differentials on gold. This is what 4,500, and this is 4,550. Meaning 500 pips differentials on the gold. So what are we looking for? So basically, I think we had a support zone here. Okay, now let me mark the support zone. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out. Am I looking for sales on gold? No, but gold has been very tricky of late. You see, gold has been very tricky. Gold has been very tricky. Gold is very strong. If you can see on the weekly time frame, we are still bullish. Let's go to the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame, you can see we are still bullish. We are only going to be looking for bearish there if price break below this zone. Below this, that is where we will say I'll be looking for bearish. But I'm still bullish on gold. But as a day trader, I need to just be buying and selling. And on the lower time frame, I don't swing trade. I'm not that patient. Yeah, sorry, not that patient. So what am I looking for? Let's zoom out. Let's go down lower time frame. So look at this zone, beautiful demand zone. Look at this beautiful demand zone. Price has basically what is respecting this downtrend. You can see we have a break of structure here. The price has been breaking below the structure. So basically, will this zone hold or will price? Let's see what do we have here. Oh, a good zone here, but I'm not going to be looking forward to that. I want to just mark a support zone here. Will price respect this zone? Let's change the color red. Let's zoom below. So basically, you can see we have. Let me make it more sexy. We have the first touch. What I'm basically looking for. Okay, the brush too. We basically have what the first touch here. We have the second one. We have the third touch. Confirming we are selling. But here is another scope of the game. Price basically did what? Price is currently on my zone and dancing around my zone. I think I had a trade from here, from somewhere here or so. Then price went, came back, and taking me out. I'm still holding, taking me out. Okay, no. I didn't take this trade. Rather. I took a trade from this zone, this entry zone, this, and price basically just literally just dropped the downside and took me out. And it hurt me so bad. But anyway, so let's zoom out. So now what is price doing? How see price is basically reacting on my zone, on my demand zone, but this zone is very wide. I'm not interested in buying from this zone. So I want to see what happens for the new week. Then let's go on to onto silver. Silver basically doing the same thing as gold has been doing, correlating. See, look at this resistance on price resisted from that zone. And if you go to the weekly time frame, you can see we have been bullish, but price broke this zone. So can we say we are bearish on silver? I don't want to go per se we are bearish because I'm not bearish on silver. Uh, Price too is looking sexy, dropping below. See, this is silver. Silver is more volatile than gold. I don't know how possible that is. You can see on the daily time frame, look at this beautiful zone. Price basically doing what? Reacting from this zone. Should price hold, price should also come back into the new zone. I have marked on the forward time. I think forward time frame on. Let's go below. Then I marked it on the 2 hour time frame. Yeah, 2 hour time frame. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the same price drop into my zone. Price should just drop into my zone. And I go on to the lower time frame to find an entry to just buy. I might buy back into the trend line. And if should I see a trend break, then we get a retest. Oh, we're buying. No time to check now. I'm buying. I'll be buying onto the zone. You can see basically we have a resistance zone here. So price is reacted from the resistance zone. Yeah, price reacted from the resistance zone. On the 2 hour time frame, let's zoom below. You can see resistance zone price is basically reacting to that zone. So now the 1 hour, you can see it clearly. So basically, guys, that is it. So I'll be updating at the end of the week how we took the trade, and what we had and our win rate and everything. I'll be posting it on my next video. So subscribe, like the video, get more people to watch. You can, if you have any suggestion, if you have any comments, leave the comments below on where and what I can do to better more my video creation. I am still learning. I'm a newbie in video creation. So thumbs up, guys. Thank you. See you in the next episode. Bye.